Welcome to Freaky Fauna Friday, where every Friday we take a little time and explore some of the freaks of nature from around the planet we cherish so deeply. So please, jump aboard and let's explore the wilds together.
Oh, we're back again.
Guess who's back? Back again. It's the great and peaceful Mr. E.
And Jay, his friend.
All right, so this is the sick week. And it's funny because I think the same thing happened last year with all the shows.
Probably.
Is because I was just like going back, one of like the timestamps things, like, oh, where were you a year ago?
Yeah.
And it was just like,
Sick.
But yeah, fair doesn't. Today's Freaky Fauna Friday animal is from Mady Gardner in her home state of Wyoming.
Oh, wow.
So she said she loves all of the shows, but, you know, Freaky Fauna is one of her favorites, and she gave us a suggestion, which if anybody has suggestions, you're more than welcome to put them in. I'll add them to the list, because this is not an animal that I would have ever had it on the list for a long time. So I'm happy she did send it in, because it has some really cool stuff. So the American Pika.
Oh, the Pika.
Or Pika.
Pika? Chew?
Like Pikachu. And I kind of really think that's where they got the name from, for Pikachu.
Oh, you think they got it from this animal?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's spelled like Pika.
Wait, did it have the same name in the Japanese cartoon, like off the rip?
Pikachu, I believe, did.
Okay.
Not all of them did.
No, I know. Yeah,
was like
a lot
half
of
and
them different.
half.
I didn't know if that was like the American name.
No, I think
Pikachu.
Pikachu was one of the Japanese names.
Okay.
Anyways, their other names are the Connie, the Haymaker,
Oh.
the Mouse Hare, the Peeping Hare, the Rock Rabbit, which is what Mady referred to it as,
A rock rabbit.
the Rocky Mountain Pika, the Southern Pika, or Pika, the Whistling Hare, or the Little Chief, or the Little Chief Hare.
Oh, a little chief hair. I like
These
that.
guys are little warriors.
Yeah, okay.
It's just, I love these little guys. Their lifespan is roughly 3 to 7 years. So we'll get to their overall size here in a second. But for little mammals, they can fit in your hand. That's a really, really long time. Most of them don't live that long. Population is very unknown. They haven't done a lot of studies into these guys yet as far as whole population size. They weigh anywhere from 121 to 176 grams.
How much is that in poundage?
You'll have to look it up for pounds. I don't think that's
Okay.
a pounds thing.
Yeah. I mean, I know grams is tiny.
So like the 200 to 300 grams is like a small ball python.
Okay.
So like really small rabbit or like a guinea pig maybe, or like 300 grams.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's tiny. It's tiny.
What?
Well, 435 or 453.5 grams is 1 pound.
Yeah, so it's a little less than a pound.
Yeah. Okay, so these guys are small.
They're about half a pound,
All right.
a little less. So yeah, about a little smaller than guinea pigs
Dang. Okay.
for the big size of them. So the American Pikas or Pikas are mountain-dwelling mammals. They're the mountains of the northwest North America. They are smaller relatives of rabbits and hares, but they are not rabbits and hares. We'll talk about that. They have two different ways of foraging. They either directly consume food or they cache food in piles for the winter, called haying.
Ah, that's why they're the haymakers.
They're also very vocal, and they use calls and songs to warn predators or to warn of each other when predators are nearby and during breeding season.
They call? Are they song?
Yeah.
Sing? I can't speak.
They sing and they call and they scream, and they'll pick fights,
They sing like Jigglypuff?
and they make gigantic piles of food.
That's awesome.
These guys are great. I love them.
It's like the ants in a Bug's Life.
So yeah,
That big pile of food. Oh.
and they are diurnal, which means they're daytime active, which
Okay.
is pretty rare for. They're not rodents. A lot of people that are like a couple of the biologists that are really focused on these guys. That's like their pet peeve
Okay.
is people calling them rodents. They are not rodents.
But you said they were closely related to rabbits?
They are closely related to rabbits. Yes,
But they're not
rabbits.
rabbits.
Aren't rodents either.
Right, correct.
They're their own group. I think rabbits, you can trace their lineage back to like deer ancestors and stuff like that. Common ancestors.
Is that why where the jackalope came from?
Yes.
Okay.
They are herbivores. They are granivores as well. So they'll focus on finding grains and seed heads and that kind of stuff. They can graze, which is kind of a unique thing. So they're kind of halfway. Like rabbits are grazers,
Right. Yep.
but they do some of those rodent-like things as well, where they hoard grains and like seek out specific parts of the plant.
Okay.
They are territorial.
Correct. Is that where they fight?
Yeah, these guys are fun. They are small, round, ovoid-shaped animals. Their hind legs do not seem to be much longer than their front legs. Their front legs and their hind feet are relatively short when compared to most other longiforms.
That's what that's called?
Yeah, that's rabbits.
Yeah.
Like rabbit family.
Lungiform?
Yeah, logomorphs.
Oh,
or
logomorphs.
logiforms.
Logiforms.
Yeah. So it's that body design.
Right.
So normally their back feet are much longer
Right,
than their front feet.
Mm-hmm.
These guys don't really have that.
Oh, they don't have that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
They have densely furred soles of their feet, and they have black pads at the end of each toe. Their ears are moderately large and are round. They have hair on both surfaces, normally dark with white margins. The Pika's buried tail is longer relative than its body size compared to most other rabbit-like animals. So they have a long tail. It's just hidden in all the fur.
Okay.
They have pretty sizable ears. They have furred feet, but they have toe pads on the end of their toes.
Right. Black toe pads.
They're very odd for everything.
Yeah. It sounds pretty unique.
Yeah. When you really, like I said, if you just kind of look at these guys, they kind of look like a giant hamster.
Yeah.
But when you really kind of look at them, they're really weird.
A lot of odd features.
The fur color of the pika is the same for both sexes, but varies between subspecies and season.
Oh, seasonal.
The dorsal fur of the pika ranges from the grayish to a cinnamon color, often colored with tawny or reddish hues during the summers. And during the winter, the fur becomes grayer and longer, even sometimes white. The dense underfur is usually a slate gray or lead colored. And they also have whitish ventral fur, which is belly fur. Any questions so far?
Interesting.
The range is Canada and the United States. Alberta, British Columbia, California, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, and Wyoming.
So mostly on the western side of the
Rocky Mountains.
Right. Okay.
Wherever the Rocky Mountains are, these guys can be. They live in southwest Canada, United States. Like I said, they can pretty much be found in any rock faces, cliffs, or turls near mountain meadows. Turls begin with rocky areas on cliff sides, slopes, and hillsides. So that's the kind of the transitional habitat.
Right.
So they are specializing in that. Or they want grazing areas that are really close to rock faces. That's their specialty. So they pretty much, a lot of the biologists that study these guys say, if you can find that, you'll find pikas.
Are they endangered?
We don't know. So like I said in the beginning, their population size is unknown. They are listed as least concerned right now.
Yeah.
But with shifting factors and that kind of stuff, we don't know a lot about these guys.
When were they first discovered?
Oh, let's get there. I don't know if I
Okay.
have that in here. But they've been,
Have they been around a while? Like,
Yeah.
did we know about them?
yeah.
Okay.
They're not hard to find when you go to the right areas.
Right. Yeah. Oh, okay.
They sound like monsters. Like I said, they live rocky areas and mountains. They can handle very cold areas. Their diet, like I said, is mostly they're herbivores, specializing in grains. Their favorite food are grasses, weeds, and tall flower heads.
Oh, all right.
So they are poop eaters.
Oh, no.
They will eat their own poop.
Oh, no. Like my dog.
There's a big fancy word for it, coprophagics, which are animals that have to eat their own poop to extract all the vitamins. So I think it's vitamin D or C that a lot of these herbivores have to eat their poop again.
So nice. You eat it twice.
Well, that's like cows, they throw up into their mouth
Right.
to chew it again.
No.
It's not great. Mating habits. They are monogamous. Early to mid-spring is when they like to breed. Pregnancy is about 30 days. Their babies are called kits, and they have 2 to 6 of them. They're independent in 1 month. So like I said,
That's pretty
they're
fast.
kits or kittens.
Oh, nice.
So isn't that weird?
That is very weird.
That's what their babies are called.
Kits. I never heard that.
So they are monogamous. Like I said, 1 male, 1 female. And the adults from neighboring territories are sought out as mates. When there is more than one possible mate available, females may take a choice. American pikas start to breed in the early to mid-spring. 2 litters, 2 to 6, are produced each year after gestation of 30 days. However, often only one litter survives as long as they are weaned stage. So normally she's pregnant again before the first litter is finished being weaned.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of times they kick them out a little too early.
Right. Oh, wow. That's fast turnover.
Yeah. At birth, the young are entirely developed, are dependent on the mother, sorry. During this period of nursing, the mother spends lots of time away from her nest, returning every 2 hours or so to nurse her infants. After about a month, the young are weaned, and they reach adult size in 3 months. After a year, they can breed.
Dang, yeah, it's really fast. So I imagine they're not endangered.
So they are decreasing.
Oh, okay.
But with that population, so it's a population trend of decreasing. We do not know if this is a natural cycle.
Right.
So a lot of these rodents, like animals and rodents themselves, will have cyclical cycles where they'll have a decrease in population, then a boom in population, decrease in population.
Ebbs and flows.
And you just kind of look at the baseline.
Right, yep.
And that's, there's acceptable variance to that baseline.
Okay.
So we don't know if that's what's going on because they're not rodents.
Right.
Rabbits have had a harder time, and people lump them in with rodents. So if you look at the snowshoe hare, has never bounced back from North America and from the colonists coming and settling.
Okay.
The snowshoe hare has never reached its full range. It's never bounced back. They're very, very rare where they were once common.
All them fur-bearing trout.
Exactly. And some of the other rabbit species, like you mentioned, the jackalopes, but actual jackrabbits, jack hares out west are rare again. So there's that chance with these guys that if they go, it may be a long couple 100-year process
Before they come
to
bounce
bring them
back.
back.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But like I said, they are listed as least concerned right now. Big threats to them, major threats to these guys is, the global climate shift. This species is the line between the North American mammal to the victims of this threat. The study carried out in 1994 to 1999 found that 7 out of 25 American pika populations were monitored had become extinct. And we think this is due to their habitat changing. So we talked about this in some of our migration episodes on Cryptocorn, where there are species that follow what's called the snow line.
Right.
These guys have to stay below the snow line. There's a very small area these guys live on the mountain. Those areas, the habitat temperature range they live, are moving up the mountains away from where the grass can grow.
Okay.
So they're now ending up in these barren valleys because of this.
Right, yeah.
There's still plants there, but it's not plants they can eat.
Not what they're used to dealing with, yeah.
Yeah. So they're, like I said, 7 out of the 25 colonies that were studied from 1994 to 1999 went extinct.
Oh, wow, okay.
So whole colonies. And we're talking, tens of thousands of animals.
Right, yeah.
Just because they literally, the climate moved up the mountain and the plant life changed. And they just, so fast they couldn't deal with it.
That makes sense.
They can die very, very fast when they're exposed to temperatures above 78 degrees for more than a couple hours.
Wow.
These guys are made for a very certain habitat range.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that's killing them, as the heat moves up the mountain.
Yeah.
So it's too hot in the valley now. So they're being forced to live higher in the mountain where there's no food.
Right, yeah. Makes sense.
So it's this hard life for these guys.
Yeah.
So like I said, right now they're listed as least concerned. I think that will change very fast. There's only a couple people really, really working on these guys.
I just can't believe anything over, let's just say 80 degrees around it off. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, muskox do not do well. That's why. So narwhals, I know belugas are different. You think of belugas as cold water animals, but they circumnavigate the ocean.
Okay.
They're fine. They can be fine in tropical waters. They don't prefer it, but they can be there, like orcas. Narwhals do not leave the Arctic.
Yeah.
That's why there's none in captivity in the U.S.
I mean, water, that makes sense. I mean, I get it.
You're adapted to your climate.
Right, yeah, to your
Well, that's
climate.
why, think about pike. Pike and muskie. Oh, muskie aren't as good. Pike. Why they're not found in Ohio hardly anymore.
Right.
It's because the water's too warm for them. They do not deal well with 70-plus degree water for long periods of time.
Right. Well, like I said, fish makes more sense because, the way their blood system and all that works. But just like a mammal?
They're very adapted.
Yeah.
I mean, polar bears, they don't do well.
Right. And polar bears, you said muskox, but I can't think of this first small one.
It's cold developed. I'm an Arctic shrews. They're all pretty much, if you took any of the animals out of the Arctic.
Yeah. So
and
these
you
are
put
more
them
the
in
Arctic.
temperate
Yeah.
climates.
Would these be like
They're not Arctic because they don't live in the Arctic zone,
But they're close.
they're cold adapted.
Right, yeah. That's kind of cool. That's crazy.
But yeah, these guys they're ecological nicks due to collecting and storing of food piles in crevices and rocks. They modify their habitats and are labeled ecosystem engineers.
Okay.
So these guys are pretty much, when they go out, they're one of those pillars
Yeah.
that these mountain cliff communities, everything from spiders to salamanders to other rodent-like animals to even big stuff like bears will feed on these guys during the hard times and
Yeah.
stuff like that. We think those whole ecosystems will collapse
Without
when these guys go away,
Wow, okay.
because of the way that they take resources that normally either can't be used by other animals
Unlocked, yeah.
or just themselves being a prey item
For them.
for other animals.
Right, yeah.
Whole bird populations and stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
will just go extinct. So when these guys go, like I said, an ecosystem engineer is a little different than a keystone species, but they kind of have the same falling out. When you
Right.
pull them out, the whole thing crumbles.
That makes sense, yeah.
So you ready for some fun facts?
Oh, yeah. Keep them coming.
So this is where we get to the fun fact side of it. Pikas are related to rabbits. Otherwise, not being a true rabbit, that's their closest living relative. They are not very closely related to rodents whatsoever. You'd have a better chance of getting them more closely related to that of a deer than an actual rat. The average brown hare, which is their cousin, can be 20 to 30 inches long. The American Pika rarely grows above 8 inches long.
Okay. Tiny guys.
So they're very small rabbits, even for rabbits. They are very territorial. Their Pikas are exposed to very high altitudes. They live in colonies for protection. Still, they are extremely territorial with their rock dens and their surrounding area. So they live in colonies of thousands.
yeah.
But they have like a little hole that they live in,
Right.
And they have a little lawn,
Out
and
in
they
front
will
of it.
murder each other for getting into their lawn.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really funny to watch. I highly suggest anybody watch these guys on YouTube.
Is it like
They have a lot of personality.
Is it like Game of Thrones, but with pikas?
Yeah, it is.
That'd be cool. They have their little heads on sticks out in front of the lawns.
How do you think they protect their territory besides ripping each other apart?
Well, maybe you hinted at earlier. Their calls.
Yeah,
They scare them off.
it's called bleating,
Bleating. Okay.
like a sheep or a goat.
Okay.
Theirs is a little more high pitched and squeaky, but it sounds like you're going
Yeah. That would be fun to watch.
just to see this little tiny like rodent rat
Screeching
looking
at you.
thing. Just
Yeah.
like I'd be like, I'm not going near that thing.
Right. Yeah.
That thing knows something. I don't.
We'll pass.
Like I said, one of the other fun facts is they have tons of funny nicknames. A lot of times they're local, like the town
Right.
below on the mountain. Be like, oh, those are our rock rabbits. Oh, those are our haymakers.
Yeah.
Those are our little chiefs.
The little chiefs. Yeah, that one's a good one.
They gather a lot of vegetation for the winter. Like I said, that's their hays. They're haymakers. So let's see. Pikas spend a great deal of their time gathering flowers and grasses for winter, but they don't hibernate. Rather, they tend to gather in these areas for harsh winters and high elevations. According to the National Park Service, they cure the vegetation they collect on the rocks in the sun and then store it in piles underneath the rocks.
Wow. So they're drying their food.
They dry their food out first before they store it.
Smart.
This is one thing I talk about animal intelligence that people don't give animals enough credit for.
Yeah.
That's an intelligent thing that 80% of the American population wouldn't know to do.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
They wouldn't be like, oh, just throw it wherever.
Right. Yeah.
You dry it so it doesn't rot.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's just as interesting to me. In 1990, a study from Colorado Parks and Wildlife Services, they studied these haystacks, and they called a whopping 61 pounds on average
Oh, wow.
for one pika. That's an accumulation of 14,000 trips worth of vegetation, 25 per hour over a 10-week period.
Dang. They're putting in work.
So on an animal that weighs about a quarter of a pound, on average, they have a 61-pound haystack for each animal.
Gosh. Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, that's crazy. So that's 100 and, oh no, so it's 4 times 60. That's 240
Yeah.
times their body mass.
That's a lot.
So for a 200-pound person, what is that?
What, you times it by 40? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
A lot? I don't know. I mean, you're 8
No,
Wait,
it's 100.
8,000?
It's 240 times their body mass.
Oh, 240 times for a 200-pound person?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot. Let's just put it that way.
So that'd be like, that's storing that much weight in, and curing it and working.
That's a lot.
I think it's neat.
I wish I had that much food in my root cellar.
So they are in, the last fact for them is that these guys need help. They are in great danger. Well, most towns are starting to see that they're actually, their populations, their group is
Declining.
collapsing.
Yeah.
So they collapse very quickly. So we talk about it with bees a lot, that hive collapsal syndrome.
Right.
Where overnight a beehive will cook itself to death and nobody really knows why yet. These guys, it's not like that, but it is kind of like that, where when these populations collapse, they're gone, like instantly.
Yeah.
It happens in weeks, not years, like weeks. And we don't really know why. And we kind of think it's that zone is moving up the mountain, forcing them out, and they starve to death relatively quickly. Like rabbits, anything that's herbivorous, they have to continuously eat food. And for an animal that doesn't hibernate, that's even harder.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, that's the American pika. So donate to I don't even know where to save these guys, but try to find somebody to give money to save the pikas.
Save the pikas.
Yeah. But no, Mady, I think was the name, right?
Yeah.
Mady?
Yeah.
Thank you for suggesting this one. That's a really cool animal.
Yeah, I never knew about this one.
These are one of the animals like I talked about with people that don't know these exist and then hearing the and not seeing them. That's a cryptid. That's a monster.
The imagination will take you to some scary places before you realize it's...
We talked about that with elk. Like, if you didn't know, like, elk make the bugle sounds.
Right, yep.
That is a dinosaur.
Yeah.
That is a monster coming to get you in your sleep.
They're-
They use it in horror movies.
Right, yeah.
If you out there didn't know that was a deer,
You probably
it would scare you to death.
Yeah, I would be.
Let alone, like, the big animals don't make really scary noises, generally speaking. We just look at bears, mountain lions, wolves. Like, wolves will howl and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the little animals that make really big, scary noises.
Well, that, and you usually don't know what it is to begin with, so it sounds like it's probably something big.
But yeah, anything for the American pika.
No, this is a fun one. It's a good one.
I like it. They're cool little animals. I'm not a big mammal guy, but I think these guys are neat.
They're interesting.
I want to watch one of their. You can Google some of their fights, where like a pika will step too close to their neighbor's front yard and will just come out and scream at each other.
Yeah.
They look like two old men just fighting about something.
Right. You mowed this blade of grass that was on my lawn. Yeah.
But yeah, it's really funny for an animal that lives in giant colonies to still be territorial.
Yeah.
But the territory is like tiny.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just there's 10,000 of these guys living in this rock pile.
Yeah.
And the territory is like half the size of like a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
And they're still fighting over like they're half a size of loaf of bread.
It's theirs.
But it matters because they'll starve to death in the winter if they don't protect it.
All right, exactly.
I've been the great and peaceful, Mr. Reed.
And I've been Jay.
We'll catch you next week, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Freaky Fauna Friday. If you want to help the podcast grow, remember to share and give it a 5-star review.